At the heart of North America, a $4.8 billion superbridge rises, a marvel of modern engineering, designed not just to span the Detroit River, but to symbolize the enduring unity and friendship between the United States and Canada. The Gordie Howe International Bridge stands as a testament to decades of cooperation, shared values, and the promise of a future built together. Yet despite its grand ambitions, this bridge has unexpectedly become the epicenter of a fierce and escalating trade dispute, casting a shadow over its hopeful beginnings. The Gordie Howe International Bridge, linking the industrial heartlands of Detroit and Windsor, was envisioned to supercharge the world's largest trading partnership, moving billions in goods and supporting millions of jobs on both sides of the border. Every day, thousands of trucks cross here, carrying everything from auto parts to fresh produce, fueling economies and livelihoods. But as the bridge nears its long-awaited opening, it faces a new and unexpected threat: sweeping tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump, targeting key industries and igniting tensions that threaten to unravel years of progress. This conflict isn't just about steel and concrete, it's about the livelihoods of workers, the prices families pay at the store, and the very future of a vital cross-border alliance. The ripple effects are being felt in factories, farms, and households alike. The U.S. and Canada, long bound by open borders and deeply integrated economies, now risk seeing new economic walls rise right where a bridge was meant to unite. The symbolism is stark, a structure built for connection now threatened by division. For families, businesses, and consumers, the fallout is immediate and real. Delays at the border, rising costs, and uncertainty are already reshaping daily life and long-term plans. The decisions made in Washington and Ottawa in the coming weeks and months will not only determine the fate of this bridge, but could reshape the very foundation of North American trade for decades to come. The bridge's fate is more than a matter of infrastructure. It is a test of whether this historic partnership can weather a new era of confrontation, or if the chasm in trade will overshadow the bridge meant to unite. The Gordie Howe International Bridge was envisioned as a transformative 21st century upgrade, a bold new chapter in the story of North American infrastructure. Rising above the Detroit River, this bridge was designed not just as a physical structure, but as a symbol of hope, progress, and unity between two nations with a long, intertwined history. It was meant to serve as the backbone of North America's busiest trade corridor, a vital artery connecting Canada and the United States, where billions of dollars in goods flow every single day. For years, the aging Ambassador Bridge had become a notorious bottleneck, its narrow lanes and outdated design struggling to handle the immense pressure of $400 billion in annual trade. Long lines of trucks and cars would often stretch for miles, causing costly delays and frustration for businesses and travelers alike. In response, Canada made a historic investment of $4.8 billion to build a modern 6-lane link named for Gordie Howe, the hockey legend who played for both nations, embodying the spirit of cross-border friendship and cooperation. Over several years, thousands of dedicated workers braved harsh weather, navigated complex political landscapes, and overcame countless logistical hurdles to bring this ambitious project to life. Their efforts were driven by the promise of securing cross-border supply chains and ensuring economic stability for decades to come. The bridge was intended to be more than just concrete and steel. It was to be a celebration of shared prosperity, a testament to what can be achieved when nations work together. Canada planned to recoup its investment through tolls, confident that the bridge would pay dividends for generations. But now, on the eve of its grand opening, the bridge finds itself at the center of a political storm. Rising tensions and heated debates have cast a shadow over what was meant to be a moment of unity. The trust and goodwill that built this bridge are now cracking under the immense weight of a sudden and unexpected trade war, threatening to unravel years of cooperation and hard work. As the bridge stands shrouded in uncertainty, one question remains. Can a structure built for unity and connection survive in a climate increasingly defined by division and discord? The crisis erupted when President Trump, early in his second term, slapped a 35% tariff on Canadian goods, just weeks after a 25% hike. The administration cited national security and fentanyl trafficking, though data shows Canada is a minor source. Many see this as a pretext for a broader protectionist push. The tariffs blindsided businesses, injecting chaos into the North American economy. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney vowed retaliation, calling the tariffs an affront to partnership and jobs. Canada is preparing targeted tariffs on U.S. goods, escalating the standoff. This marks a sharp break from decades of negotiation and dispute resolution. Trump's direct punitive approach has upended supply chains and left commerce at a near standstill. The world's most peaceful border is now a front line in a trade war. Canada is hitting back with dollar-for-dollar tariffs, targeting U.S. products from politically sensitive states. The goal: inflict economic pain and mobilize American industries to pressure the White House. Ottawa is also accelerating trade deals with the EU and Pacific partners to reduce reliance on the U.S. This crisis has forced Canada to rethink its economic strategy and diversify its export markets. Diplomatically, Canada is building a coalition of countries hit by U.S. protectionism, seeking to isolate Washington at global forums. The message: U.S. actions threaten the entire rules-based trading system. Canada's response marks a fundamental shift, no longer assuming the U.S. is a stable partner. This new defensive posture will shape Canada's policies long after the current dispute. The North American partnership is being redefined with lasting consequences. No U.S. state is more vulnerable than Michigan, a place where geography and economy are inseparably linked. Here, the border isn't just a line on a map, it's a lifeline for millions of residents and businesses. With $77 billion in annual trade flowing across the border with Canada, Michigan's economy pulses with cross-border activity. This trade is not just a statistic, it's the backbone of daily life, supporting jobs, families, and entire communities. The auto industry, agriculture, and retail sectors all depend on seamless cross-border ties. Every car assembled, every crop harvested, and every store stocked near the border is a testament to this vital relationship. But now, new tariffs threaten to sever these links, casting a shadow over Michigan's future. Economists warn that the impact could be severe, with forecasts predicting over 13,000 lost jobs and billions in lost output. Border cities like Detroit and Port Huron are already feeling the pinch, seeing fewer Canadian visitors, declining sales, and a growing sense of uncertainty. Local businesses that once thrived on cross-border customers now face empty aisles and shrinking revenues. Governor Gretchen Whitmer and business leaders warn the tariffs will raise costs, hurt competitiveness, and drive investment elsewhere. The Gordie Howe Bridge, once a symbol of growth and optimism for the region, now sits at the center of economic anxiety. If truck traffic drops, toll revenues will fall short, putting public investments at risk and turning the bridge into a financial burden rather than a boon for the state. For Michigan, the bridge now embodies both the promise of U.S. Canada cooperation and the high cost of its breakdown. It stands as a stark reminder of what's at stake. As residents gather in town halls and watch the news with growing concern, the state's future is now tied to the outcome of this trade war. Every decision made in Washington and Ottawa ripples through Michigan's towns and cities. Michigan's prosperity, its jobs, and its way of life hang in the balance, waiting for resolution on the border that defines its destiny. The North American auto industry relies on a seamless cross-border supply chain, now threatened by steep tariffs. Up to 40% of parts in Michigan-assembled vehicles come from Canada. A 35% tariff would devastate profit margins. Industry leaders warn, no business can survive these costs. Plants are already idling and assembly lines risk shutting down. Consumers will pay more for vehicles, dampening demand and triggering job losses. The entire region's competitiveness is at stake as Asian and European automakers gain an edge. Hundreds of thousands of jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Ontario are on the line. The trade war is dismantling the system that made North America an automotive powerhouse. Workers and families are caught in a conflict they didn't create. The auto sector's future depends on resolving this standoff. The tariff dispute is chilling personal travel between the U.S. and Canada. Border crossings are down 32% as Canadians avoid trips south for shopping and leisure. American border towns Buffalo, Bellingham, Detroit are losing vital tourism dollars. Small businesses report fewer Canadian customers and are cutting staff hours. The Gordie Howe Bridge's business model, reliant on tolls from both trucks and cars, is now at risk. A sustained drop in travel could turn the bridge into a financial liability for Canada. More than economics, the decline signals a growing psychological distance between the two nations. The trade war is eroding goodwill and unraveling a model friendship. Economists warn the Trump administration's tariff strategy is a high-risk gamble with dire consequences. Tariffs are a blunt tool, hurting U.S. consumers and businesses more than stopping illicit drugs. Most models show tariffs backfire, raising costs and closing export markets as partners retaliate. The uncertainty is toxic for business, causing firms to delay investments and hiring. The USMCA, meant to provide stability, is now under threat as the 2026 review looms. If relations don't improve, the pact could unravel, erasing decades of progress. The risk, a fractured North America, with all three nations poorer and isolated. The stakes could not be higher for the continent's future. The outcome will shape prosperity for generations. The Gordie Howe Bridge stands as a silent witness to a turning point in North American history. This is more than a tariff dispute. It's a test of the U.S. Canada relationship. The path forward demands more than rolling back tariffs. It requires renewed diplomacy and shared vision. Leaders must choose: continue down a path of conflict or rediscover the cooperation that built a prosperous continent. Industry and local leaders are urging de-escalation, reminding governments of the strength in integration. The bridge's fate is a metaphor for the continent's future, a channel of prosperity or a monument to division. The choice belongs to today's leaders, but the consequences will be felt for generations. This story is still being written, and its ending matters to us all.